How is it going, everyone? We've got a pretty notable PlayStation hardware leak that has just happened, and while I myself am not super excited for this, I know there's quite a lot of people that will be excited for this, so we'll talk about that. On top of that, got some sales numbers to go over. Sonic has a lot of momentum right now, and I was a little bit contentious with the Sonic Racing Crossworlds price point, you know, $70 with a lot of DLC content as well, but seemingly that game has done very well. Now, Sega, to be fair, if you follow their track record with their games, they put their games on sale fairly quickly, and if you snipe the Sonic games, you can always get them at a good price. But we'll talk about that, and also, Cairn has been one of the breakout indie successes already of 2026, and the game has done very well. We'll talk that at the end of this video. Really strong reception and sales numbers to back it as well. But first of all, Kepler L2 did note Sony is releasing a new PlayStation Portal OLED model this year. Seems to be a success. They're even doing another version this year, an OLED version. Again, while PlayStation Portal for me isn't my cup of tea, for whatever reason, when it comes to game streaming, dude, I feel like I have pretty good internet. I feel like I've always had pretty decent internet, all things considered. My PlayStation 5 is wired. Trying game streaming never has been good, whether it be trying to stream through the cloud. I remember when PlayStation Now was a thing and I was so desperate to play some of the PS3 games on PS4 and 5 that, you know, trying to stream the PS3 game, or with just streaming on your phone or streaming with PlayStation Portal, it just never turns out. Even when I stream games, let's say on my PC to my Steam Deck or ROG Ally, never turns out well. It's sometimes I'll be like, okay, it's working well for 15 minutes, and then boom, here comes the stuttering, here comes the latency issue, here comes this, here comes that, and it always ends up being a crap show. For the people that have great experiences with it, happy for you. I hope you continue having great experiences, and the amount of people that I see talk about how PlayStation Portal has been a game changer for them, even though it's a fairly niche product, for the people that it's relevant to, it really does seem like it's a game changer for them. And usually those are the people with families, or they have their PlayStation in their living room and they want to play games before bed or something like that. It does seem to be pretty effective. Or if you're a sports guy during football season, you can have the game on and then also be playing games on your PlayStation Portal. Totally get how that could be effective. It's just there's probably a small portion of people that will find that actually super effective, but that small portion of people is who PlayStation was catering to and who this platform was relevant to. On top of that, with PlayStation Plus Premium now being implemented with PS Portal as well, and now you can game stream off the cloud. I don't know the connectivity on that either, how good of an experience people are having. I just know from my experience, every time I've tried cloud streaming, it's been not that great and not worthwhile enough for me. Even with the, you know, convenience of it, I'm throwing in the towel. Until some real big changes happen, I'm throwing in the towel as far as my experience with PlayStation and cloud services in general. Again, not exclusive to just PlayStation, just in general, my cloud experience has always been pretty bad. And again, people have different expectations. Some people are okay with a little bit of input lag, especially if you're playing like a turn-based JRPG, or you're playing a game where, you know, you don't have to be super reactive all the time. I don't think that's a big deal if there's a little bit of latency. However, when I'm playing a game and it looks a little bit choppy and then it goes from, okay, a half second is whatever, but then it becomes 2 seconds or 2.5 seconds, then I'm like, all right, dude. The inconsistency, that's my problem with it. For me, it's always been a fairly inconsistent experience, and I feel like when I'm playing games via streaming, I'm like, oh, it's only a matter of time before the experience goes out the window, and I'd rather not be like that. But again, an OLED model will be pretty cool, and I would imagine it's going to be more expensive than the standard model, maybe $250, around that range. And the rumbling is that PlayStation is working on a dedicated handheld. We'll see how ultimately that turns out. I would love to see that, because why I like the Steam Deck so much is, yes, the Nintendo Switch exists, but so many of us have invested so much into your platform of choice. If that's PlayStation, you've already bought so many games on PlayStation. Do you really want to buy a separate handheld device that's in a totally separate ecosystem like the Nintendo Switch, and then have to rebuy a lot of these games? If PlayStation had a dedicated handheld and I can bring over the games I've already invested my money into, you know, games like the Bastions of the world, the Hades of the world. I don't mention, I'm not just trying to mention Super Giant games, but you get the idea. Those are some of the popular games. If I can bring over a Skate Story, games that I already have, and I bring up those games because for me, as far as handheld gaming goes, I'm not looking to play a Death Stranding 2 on my potential handheld. That's just not what I want to do. I want to play JRPGs, I want to play lower key indie titles, and that's about it, and I think that turns out to be pretty effective. But I digress. PS Portal, for those of you interested, a OLED model is seemingly coming. Moving on from that, I do want to note, Sonic Racing Crossworlds has passed 1 million copies sold, and Sega is expecting another million copies within its fiscal year. It's got an overwhelmingly positive reception on Steam, which is great, and now it's cracked 1 million copies sold as noted on Eurogamer, and again, they're looking to sell another million units within the fiscal year in the results presentation. Sonic Racing Crossworlds came out at $70 back in September of last year. However, it did go on sale very quickly, and I've always said this about Sega titles, is that yes, Sega titles come out very expensive, but then by Black Friday, you're looking at those games being down to $35, $40, $30, around that range, and you're talking about Crossworlds coming out at $70. So if you waited a little bit, I think a lot of people ended up buying Crossworlds, but they bought it on sale. But hey, that's still a significant number, and I feel like there's real momentum with Sonic as an IP, real momentum that we haven't seen with Sonic as an IP in a very, very long time. You guys remember like the late 2000s, early 2010s, where it was like a crap show as far as quality of Sonic games? Sonic and the Secret Rings, Sonic and the Black Knight, Sonic Unleashed. I know some people like Sonic Unleashed, bro. Those werewolf levels have scarred me permanently as far as Sonic Unleashed is concerned. I thought those levels were terrible, but now it really feels like there's a level of consistency when you look at the output. Sonic Frontier, Sonic Superstars, Sonic X Shadow Generation, Sonic Racing Crossworlds, all of those games were at the very least good. Frontiers was fairly well received, sold really well. Superstars, I get it, the $60 price tag was way too high, but that was still a decent game, all things considered. It certainly wasn't bad, and Sonic X Shadow Generations was awesome. That Shadow campaign was tremendous, and now Sonic Racing Crossworlds as a kart racer, incredibly well received as well, so it just feels like there's more consistency than ever with a Sonic title. At least, you know, more consistency than a very long time. Like I said, late 2000s, early 2010s, yeah, you would have the Sonic colors that were fairly good. You would have the Sonic RPG on the DS that BioWare did that was really good. I forget the name of it right off the top of my head, but more often than not, it was very, very inconsistent, and now I just feel like there's a level of consistency outside of, you know, Sonic Rumble is what it is, the live service title, but, you know, the major releases I feel like are pretty good. Speaking of sales numbers, another game that is doing really well is Cairn. Cairn has cracked 200,000 sales. They noted 200,000 climbers, so, you know, maybe that's, I don't know, people game sharing the title or whatever the case may be, but still a very good number for Cairn, done by the game bakers who also did Fury and Haven, which are two games that I've talked up quite a bit. I do have Cairn downloaded, just got a lot else to play right now. Legend of Heroes Trails Beyond the Horizon, Neo 3 is now in my games I'm playing, so this is the period where it gets a little bit difficult to keep up with everything, but Cairn's been received really well. I've heard the game is fairly difficult, so keep that in mind, but incredibly replayable as well. So check that out at the very least, keep it on the wish list, and then pick it up sometime down the line. But that is going to do it for me. Again, new PlayStation hardware has seemingly been leaked. We'll keep an eye on that when the Portal OLED is potentially revealed. Sonic Racing Crossworld sells very well, and the game bakers Cairn is selling pretty well for an indie title on top of that. The first real breakout indie game of the year. You know, maybe there was a couple others, but Cairn's the one that has really stood out to me. That's going to do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. As always, sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.